Hi, everybody, and welcome to Leipsic here, just outside of the high school as we get ready to take a look at the 2013 Leipsic Vikings on this Coles Market Pigskin Preview. Mark Kunz and Chris Parks, joined by Joe Kirkendall, the head coach of the Leipsic Vikings. An 8-3 season last year, Coach. You started 8-0. You played 3 tough games to kind of end things, lost in the first round of the playoffs. Reflect a little bit on 2012 and the positives you took away from that squad you had last year.
You know, one of the things with last year's team is you look back and the 3 games that we lost were all by a score. You know, we were right there in games, had leads, you know, a couple opportunities, and for whatever reason we just we couldn't get over that proverbial hump, and we couldn't win one of those games, and it might have made things a little bit different. But last year's group was you know, perhaps one of the most likable groups of senior classes that we've had. Very high personality type class. And they did a lot of good things from a leadership standpoint and a work ethic, and just continuing what we're trying to establish here from our tradition and the expectation of success. And we'll see what kind of legacy they leave behind as the guys that come in, this year, if they can continue that and if they've taken some things from those guys.
Speaking of that expectation of success, you have to be happy with where this program has gone under your head coachingship. As 8-3 season is somewhat a little bit disappointing that you guys didn't do better. I mean, that tells you the esteem you have for this program and where you've taken it.
Well, that's just it. When we came in, we truly believe that if we could get these kids to buy into the off-season program in the weight room, that we had the kids with the right mindset here in town, and we do that. We got a lot of blue-collar kids. We got a lot of kids that are tough kids, and they've worked tremendously hard. And like you said, for an 8-3 season and a first-round exit in the playoffs to be disappointing, that's a good thing from a program standpoint. And then the fact of the matter is you never know from year to year what you're going to have. But when there's a reasonable expectation for success, it just kind of focuses everybody that much more.
One guy you have to look forward to coming back this year is Zach Coleman. He'll be your 3rd year in a row now starting as a quarterback. You got to be comfortable with that position, having him back, and he's already had success his first 2 seasons. I'm sure you're probably expecting a 3rd out of him.
Well, the thing with Zach is his transformation from his sophomore year to last year to this year. You saw it on the basketball floor, the difference in his demeanor from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. He's put on 10 pounds. He's almost 195 pounds now. And, at 6'3", he's got a tremendous arm. There's not a lot of stuff that defenses are going to throw at him that he hasn't seen. So we definitely build our offense around Zach. And what's nice for me, this is year 6, and I've only had 2 starting quarterbacks.
It's something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, Liam Nodler off to a strong start in his college career.
Yes,
now
sir.
Your first quarterback. And offensively, you've got a lot of that talent coming back this season.
We do. We bring back a real strong nucleus on the offensive line. Our guards and are both back, and we're going to move some kids around, but realistically we bring back quite a bit of experience there, and then with Zach at quarterback, and then Jordan Chamberlain, a first-team All-League running back, averaged over 100 yards a game last year. So offensively we have a lot of pieces in place to kind of try to just kind of grow and adapt and continue to be pretty successful.
You guys had one of the best defenses in the area in the BVC last year. In those 8 wins you had last year, you gave up just 48 points, but some of that defense graduates, unfortunately.
We graduated a tremendous amount of that defense. We really have basically 3 kids with experience coming back, a defensive lineman, a linebacker, and a safety. So now it's up to young kids who have been waiting their turn to kind of take the bull by the horn, so to speak, and one thing about defense, you don't have to have a lot of experience if you're willing to play hard and run to the football. And we think we got some kids that'll do that, but we'll find out. It's definitely one of those things where there won't be any questions about week 5. We'll know where we're at.
Week 1, Hopewell Loudon, 2nd year in a row against the Chieftains. They're going to be coming in the BVC next season, but now that's a non-conference game. That kind of built momentum last year, kind of set the tone last year, that win over Hopewell Loudon in week 1.
Yeah, it did. It was real nice to go over to their place and play a quality program. And it wasn't a clean game. We were pretty, we had some good moments and made some good plays, and we learned some things about ourselves. But, week 1, there's so many uncertainties. You don't know what you have. You don't know how kids are going to respond, to being under the lights on a Friday night. And it's so important because it sets the tone. And it's really, we always say, from the first scrimmage to the second scrimmage, and then from the first game to the second game, you make the biggest amounts of improvement. But with that first game being a quality opponent, you've got to be ready to play. And with the computer point standpoint and, and just the type of changes they've had and we've had, that's definitely a game that we circled long ago as week 1 was very, very important to our program.
Speaking of Hopewell, Loudon, also Riverdale, North Baltimore, other schools joining the BBC to make the conference even bigger. Are you in favor of the conference expansion, or are you looking forward to competing against some new teams coming up here in the future?
I'm really looking forward to the opportunities to compete against some new faces, some new teams. With the league expansion, it allows us to get a second non-league game. And in 2015, we'll start playing Columbus Grove.
Okay.
Week 2, that's something we look forward to. But I was definitely in favor of expansion when it happened. There's just a lot of uncertainty in our league right now with roster sizes. And then unfortunately, there's a concern on who's going to have teams, in 5 years.
Obviously, one of those major question marks is Hardin Northern not playing varsity football this season, which left you guys scrambling. How did you hook up with Edinburgh, Indiana to fill that late spot in your schedule?
It was our only choice. The only school in Ohio was Youngstown Christian. We were in contact with them, but it was a very brief conversation.
Okay.
They really had no interest in playing. We looked at a couple different scenarios, and they were willing to take a bye week. They've done it in the past. There was nobody else in Ohio. We did not find anybody in Michigan. So it was Edinburgh or a school down in the southern part of Kentucky.
Oh, wow.
Neither one were very good choices. We'd have liked, to find, maybe somebody, closer. But we made it a concerted decision that we were going to find a game for our kids, because you just can't ask these kids to do the off season and the summers, and to go through the work to get 9 games, because that's all you're guaranteed is the regular season. And we've been in the playoffs, but that's not a given. So you got to reward these kids with a 10th game.
Do you envision yourselves being a playoff team again this year and competing at the top of that BBC?
We have the potential to. We have to start our season quickly. We have to start fast early on. Have a huge test week 4 with Arlington, who's going to be a tremendous team this year. If we can come together defensively, I think that will be the key to our team, because offensively we really like what we have the ability to do. Defensively is where it's going to come to the key for us. And then, of course, we don't have quite as much depth, so staying healthy is going to be a bigger key for us this year than it has been in years past. But potentially we could be back in the playoffs and be a very, very good football team again.
And that Week 4 matchup with Arlington, one of 2 Leipsic Viking games you will see on WOSN, along with the Liberty-Benton matchup. We need to take a timeout in this Coles Market Leipsic Viking football preview. When we come back, more from the Vikings on WOSN.
Back here in Leipsic on this Coles Market Pigskin Preview for 2013. 2 players joining me on the set here is Paul Gerdeman and Garrett Bardell. Joining me here as we get set to talk a little bit more about the Vikings. 8-3 a season ago. Let's start first off with you, Garrett. Just the excitement you have getting ready for another football season. You guys are a playoff team traditionally. Do you expect that tradition to continue again this year?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. We come out here every day. We work our butts off to strive to be better, and we graduated a bunch of seniors last year, but we expect nonetheless to go to playoffs and do better than last year.
Paul, expectations got to be huge. You got Zach Coleman back at quarterback now in his 3rd season. What's he mean to this team, and what's he bring in terms of an energy level?
Zach's a huge part of this team. He brings a lot of energy. He's always picking us up, even when we have bad days. He's always in the back when we're in the huddle, picking us up, telling us to do better. If we have a bad play, he always tells us to forget about it, just keep moving on. He's pretty good. He's got a lot of experience. Younger guys, he's always picking them up and whatnot, trying to make them better. He's a good member of the team.
Kind words, Zach just right off the set there. So, Paul, talking him up. Zach's a great quarterback here. We'll talk to him in our next segment here. Garrett, kind of the expectations that you guys have this season. Like I said, you guys are a playoff team year in and year out. Do you think you can contend for a top spot in that BBC? And who do you think are going to be some of the top teams we're going to have to look out for in the conference?
Yeah, absolutely. I do think we contend. We have a big line. We graduated a few linemen last year, but the linemen we have replacing them are bigger. Probably one of the biggest lines coaches had been here since he's been here at Leipsic. We're going to have to definitely look out for Arlington. they're always big. And since being a running team, they're a running team, we're going to have to learn to stop the run. Another team would be Liberty-Benton. They're big every year no matter what.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to watch out for them too.
Paul, offensively, a lot of guys come back. How is that going to help you guys out, knowing you have a lot of experience and a lot of the same guys back on that side of the ball?
Well, like you said, they have a lot of guys back. They know what they're doing, and the new guys, they're pretty experienced too. They know they play JV, and they still know what they're doing. It's just a different mindset, JV, varsity. It's a lot of more, competition and whatnot. More experience, it's just practice. You got new guys, and they just want to be better, pick themselves up and everything. And the more experience we got, they just help them out, teaching them what they need to do and picking them up when they don't do it right and teach them better.
That's what camp's all about. Garrett, final question for you. Favorite game maybe from 2012 and maybe the game you're looking for most forward to this season coming up?
Definitely be Liberty Benton. They're a pretty big rivalry every year. We lost last year to them. Don't plan on it happening again.
No, you don't plan on that.
No. It's going to be one of the teams, them and Arlington, so I'm definitely looking for Liberty Benton this year to headhunt them and knock them out of their seat.
Those are some of the top teams in the BVC. Leipsic hoping to be one of those teams. When we return on this Coles Market Pigskin Preview, Mark, we'll talk with two more guys here next on WOSN.
Welcome back to this Coles Market Leipsic Viking football preview show. Joined now by Alfie Flores from the offensive line and linebacking core, and quarterback Zach Kuhlman, also be playing a little bit of safety this year. And Alfie, first off, how did the summer go for the Vikings program?
It was pretty good. Weights was fine. We conditioned somewhat. We got some big numbers in lifting, and it was pretty great. Camp went well, and now we're into 2 days, so everything's looking fine. So,
Zach, 7-on-7s. I know Leipsic doesn't necessarily throw the ball around quite a bit, basically just 2 receiver sets, but Coach is telling us you were able to work on some good stuff during those 7-on-7s.
Well, yeah. A lot of new guys in the receiving core, and they, from the first one to the last one, they improved a lot.
How important are those 7-on-7s just to get that kind of repartee going with your receivers when you have so many new guys?
Yeah, just getting down our timing, and I know how fast each receiver is pretty good.
Alfie, let's talk about defense right now. A lot of returners graduated. I shouldn't say returners. They're not returning. They graduated. So some new faces on that defense. Just take us through what the defense is going to look like this year.
It's going to be a lot different from last year. Of course, we lost a lot of guys. So there's a lot of new faces, a lot of young guys, and it's pretty much going to be a whole new ball game defensively.
Of those young guys, who do you think is going to step up the most?
Like name-wise?
Yeah, sure.
We got Randy Avila. I'm not sure if he got a lot of varsity time last year, but he's probably gonna be good next year. We got Milo Lopez. Yeah, he's gonna be a linebacker. He'll be pretty good too.
Zach, anytime you talk about a Division VII program like Leipsic, you always have to be concerned about the depth. There's just not that many kids playing football. Mm-hmm. It's a small school. Do you feel comfortable with that depth? Do you feel comfortable with the numbers you have out this year?
Yeah, we don't have as many as we have the past couple of years, but I think we're a lot bigger and stronger this year than we were last couple of years.
Obviously, you guys are looking forward to that Week 1 matchup with Hopewell Loudon. Any other games that you're really looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to Macomb because, we lost by 1 point to them last year, so time to get vengeance.
Looking forward to making that trip to Edinburgh, Indiana, and crossing the state line?
Somewhat. I don't really want to drive that far.
Well, you're going to ride, right?
Yeah.
Be a long bus trip for the Leipsic Vikings come Week 5 when they make that trip to Edinburgh. I want to thank all of our guests today. Joe Kirkendall, head coach for the Leipsic Vikings, along with our last two guests, Zach Kuhlman and Alfie Flores, and then Paul Gerdeman and Zach Bardall, or I should say Garrett Bardall. For Chris Parks, I'm Mark Kunz. We'll see you next time on WOSN.